Y'all don't know football.
Come now. A happy Good Friday to you. It's time to rise and shine at 9 for the Friday football feast.
I'm thinking of those days gone by now. So music in the air.
Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. The Timber Tech What's on Deck set list unfurled momentarily. But what was on deck last night in the capital city of St. Paul included this guy tallying two.
Simpson forced to make a save in the opening seconds. Now a strip and a break for Boldy. Boldy's in alone on Tulapilo. He scores! Floated in high glove. 23 seconds into period 2. Boldy's got a pair, and this game's tied at 2.
Nordo hit the captain Walsey with a pressing Boldy question yesterday, and young Matthew came through with 2. And we also brought up the recent developments with Kirill Kaprizov, and wondering when he would score. And yeah.
Well, and good morning.
No Kaprizov?
I did have the Boldy highlight. I did not have the Kaprizov highlight. Both of them getting to 4.
Okay, 3-2.
Let me do this. I went to the game. I was driving home from the game.
Alec Lewis, ladies and gentlemen.
Driving home from the game.
Give us a replay. Give us a highlight.
And so this in the car on the way home, they were playing some Joe O'Donnell highlights, and I was like imitating it. And my girlfriend Ellen was driving her nuts. And Boldy with a gun. She was going nuts. Anyway,
Boldy times 2.
The Kaprizov highlight. I wasn't prepared for that.
That's the voice of Alec Lewis at Alec_Lewis. Covers the Minnesota Vikings for The Athletic and TheAthletic.com. Also has the wildly popular Alec Lewis Show podcast. And this is the Friday football feast, but it's also the Friday forechecking feast, where Alec indeed was in attendance last night. It was a sold out crowd. And there were so many things going on last night. The Minnesota Wild took on perhaps the very worst team in the NHL that scored 8 on the Colorado Avalanche the night before. And then all of a sudden they're winning 2-1, and we got young Alec in the house, and I started to get a little nervous. Did you?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. They scored the 1, and then we stood up to go get some, I don't know, what we ended up like a burrito bowl or something.
They're called alcoholic beverages.
No, I didn't drink that much. I knew I was going to be up early. And then they scored again, and I was like, I saw it on the TV. I'm like, that's just a replay, right? No. But the urgency after that, and Tom Reed was loving it after the game. He talked about the urgency down 2-1.
Look at you listening to the post-game show. That's awesome.
I will tell you.
Did you send a text into Fallness for like between periods?
I will tell you, the crowd, I mean, it was sold out, but like they're playing the worst team in the league. It's a Thursday night in St. Paul, and there was not an open seat, and the place was buzzing the whole time.
And you could hear it in the Kaprizov highlight that we will now listen to.
It's a wild steal. It's Kaprizov. He's got a man wide open. Zuccarello back to Kaprizov, and he scores. What a passing play. And the Wild have their first lead as Kaprizov tucks home his 40th of the year.
The crowd was raucous.
It was electric in there. And I told you this before we came on. To see Boldy score in person twice, I mean, there's only so much more you could ask.
It's your favorite player.
He almost, and I told you this, there was a play where he dips under.
Oh, and he's
from his knees, and it would have been Scott Van Pelt probably would have been talking about it. So I turned it on after to see if they would give a highlight because I was so excited.
Inside the weeds, getting inside the metaphorical weeds with last night's game. You had Hughesy, as we call him in the business, 43, Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
First game against his former team. They hadn't played Vancouver in 4 months. The last time they played, worst team in the NHL beat them. And I know you like to get inside the weeds. Then for Vancouver,
Zeev William.
There's one. Name the other two.
Rossi.
Marco Rossi.
I don't know the third.
Well, come on. Yes, you do. He played last night.
Come on.
I quite frankly, I just don't.
Liam Ogren.
Okay.
Liam Ogren.
Yeah.
Brock Besser had a hat trick against the Avs the night before. Brock Besser is a Burnsville native.
Really?
So he had about 20 to 50 in the crowd last night. So there were some sneaky subplots to last night's game. You caught a good one.
It really, no, it was phenomenal. I had some help getting some tickets from people I know really well, who may be sitting across from me. But it was really fun. We had a very good time, and we went down there. I mean, Zamboni's was overflowing with people across the street. I mean, I had a good time.
Hey man, welcome back from the owners' meetings. Yeah. Alec Lewis, The Athletic, theathletic.com. And, we're really happy to see you here, of course. But over the last couple of days, there were some reports that you being here was not 100%. And the only way to ask the question is, how scared of bad weather were you? Given for some reason 3.5 years ago, despite being here 3.5 years now, like 4 years, you still fear driving when it comes up snowy or wet.
So here's what happened. I was supposed to fly back, I think, Wednesday. And
so scared.
And then I was told by my girlfriend Ellen that it was
we got a name now. We're not MD.
No, yeah, we're evolving there.
Holy cow.
I was told that she said there's going to be 8 to 10 inches of snow, so you better get back. I'm like, first of all, I mean, I'm so tired of the snow. It's April. Like, what are we doing? Second of all. And then, so I told Nordo, and he's like, yeah, I don't know about that. So every day now, Nordo's been saying, man, the plows, they're doing a great job with the plows.
Well, that was my source.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get any of the texts. He must have got them all.
Yeah, it was, so I flew back early. I mean, I paid extra to fly back from Arizona so I could get back early. Yeah, because.
How much did you stick the Athletic for on that tab?
That was on my own dime. I do the company right.
You got an association that handles the shoveling for you at your spot?
It's just so ridiculous. I'm tired of the snow, and I don't know. I don't know how else to say that.
No, we all are.
But the owners' meetings was a blast. It was fun. Everybody was relaxed. People were in good moods. Had a good time. Learned a lot.
My son attended Grand Canyon University for a short time. That Biltmore,
oh my gosh,
that's the best hotel I've ever stayed at in my life.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about this before, but the owners' meetings is just so silly. Like, there are two different. One time I'm walking in the lobby and I hear some guy holler on the other side to some other random man,
"Hey, Alec,
you need to go get a beer later." I look over, it's Stephen Jones just yelling at someone across the lobby. Really? Another time I'm like,
I thought maybe it'd be Marty Smith and he wanted to talk about his new deal with the mothership.
I mean, as he should. He probably got paid handsomely.
That guy, I like him.
He's funny. There was another time I was like typing on a story outside, kind of by the poolish area, and
at Biltmore?
At the Biltmore. Ooh. You just like sit out there writing, and I heard this voice. I'm like, gosh, that's a familiar voice right behind me. So I did this like, you're trying to make it look like you're not looking at him. So I turn around and it's Sean McVay talking to Andrew Siciliano. And then here comes Liam Cohen, and here comes Matt LaFleur, and they're all wearing sunglasses.
The picture day?
No, this was like just 2 days later. Yeah. And they're all just like hanging out by the pools. The owners' meetings is ridiculous, but it was good.
So with the and Alec talked about this rather deeply at the Alec Lewis Show podcast at Alec. What's the podcast? X.
I think it's at Alec Lewis Show.
At Alec Lewis Show. Yep. Learn that via X.
Wherever you get your podcast.
Right. And we also have a voluminous amount of stories from the owners' meetings in Arizona. So sneaky chats at the owners' meetings. I mean, that's the number one reason for a beat writer to go there, I would assume. Now, with the background conversations or the table talk or whatever, let's begin here. With the Minnesota Vikings up to this draft, Rob Brzezinski is the acting general manager. But via the Alec Lewis Show, you talked about a general manager hiring plan. Mm-hmm. For those who haven't read a story or listened to the pod, what'd you share? Yeah, I mean, they've definitely laid groundwork over these last couple months. I mean, Mark Wilf was pretty open about that. That they have started to think about who they want, what they want, et cetera. Let's stop there for a second. Is this a suggestion that Brzezinski after the draft will not have the job? No, not a suggestion. I definitely think that is in play. And Rob was asked directly about it by Dane Mizutani, and Rob was like, I could give you all the cliches, and then you felt like he's going to tell you, like, this could be the time where he tells you he wants this job. Then he just gave all the cliches, which is what I would expect from Rob because he's sharp and he knows that there's what's the upshot in being very forward about everything. So, I think the word that Mark Wilf used was after the draft, they're going to be they're going to be deliberate and they're going to be expeditious with the process. But I mean, Rob Brzezinski, the one word that Mark Wilf used in what he wants out of this new GM is like leader, someone who can align the personnel staff and coaching staff. And I can tell you, having talked to people at all levels of the organization, that how is Lenny Wilf? I haven't seen him since the sideline in Seattle. He was there. At the owners' meetings. I can tell you over the last 3 months that Rob Brzezinski has definitely led this thing well, and that there are people internally who are like, he's led it like you'd expect a GM to lead it. So I just think there's so much internal trust and respect for how he's gone about it that it would make sense for him to get a real shot at this thing after the draft, and we'll see what other options are there. I mean, there was a lot of George Payton conversation among the Denver folks at the owners' meetings. Hear a little Reed Burkhardt pop up. Reed Burkhardt's been here, with the Broncos. Yeah, you hear that name a little bit, but George Payton, I would say, like from the time that Kwesi was fired to now, he the idea of having someone who also has the amount of respect internally that he has makes sense, but. We'll see. I wouldn't expect it to last very long after the draft, is what I would say. All right. Well, when this conversation comes up, publicly or not, and people formulate opinions or share information like you just did, the first thing that I come to is if after the draft, Rob Brzezinski is not the general manager of this team, what's his role? Because they shipped all in, bringing in a super well-respected guy to kind of fill that chair. Yeah, I mean, and that's why one of the questions to Mark Wilf, and I want to just credit, I think it was Matthew Collar who asked him, would you be interested in doing a different structure where it's like you'd have a president of football operations, there we go, and then a GM underneath it? And and Mark Wilf kind of, He shook his head a little bit at that, where it was like, we like the idea of a general manager reporting directly. So unless they have a shift in opinion, I don't expect them to go that route. And I think the question with Rob is fair. I mean, Rob, this. Rob is he's sharp enough and aware enough that he will work through whatever circumstance exists. But I do think the way people talk about him as just like cap whiz minimizes the feel, the emotional awareness, the galvanizing effect. The faith people have in him. And so I do think that's just important to talk about moving forward and into the weeks and months to come with this. With Alec Lewis of The Athletic and theathletic.com, when we return, I want to discuss something we started yesterday with Vox in the Box involving Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. We have a new respected NFL mind, third one this week for me, calling Jeremiah Love a generational talent. which means he would be in the class of like an Adrian Peterson. That needs to be unpacked. The Timberwolves lost at Detroit last night. The Wild beat Vancouver here. Dallas was able to win easily, so you're still chasing the Stars, 6 in arrears. And Luka Doncic messed up his hamstring last night, and that's sending shockwaves throughout the NBA. But when we return, some J-Love conversation and much more with Alec Lewis from The Athletic, courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. That's part of What's on Deck on a Good Friday, 9 to noon style. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. Good morning. Welcome to KFAN. It's 9:20 in the neighborhood. Friday Football Feast, FM 100.3, KFAN. Let's begin here. Jimmy Johnson developed it many decades ago, an NFL draft trading chart. And there are teams that still will keep that draft trading chart, which has numerical values tied to each pick. And generally speaking, those numerical values don't change. So, for instance, and here's what I'm getting at, because, well, let's with Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Okay, and you've said that before, and I know, you, the college football loving fan in you, follows this markedly more closely than a fair amount of people, and you've been telling us about Jeremiah Love for a while. Well, it's an hour and change from now. You're going to hear it again from a reporting longtime friend of mine,
Chris
Adam
Broussard.
Adam Kaplan, maybe Chris Broussard at 10 o'clock. But I asked him, do you think he's a generational talent? And Adam is not hyperbolic. And he said, yes. And then I go, okay, well, that's like Adrian Peterson type stuff. And he didn't back off. He's the third person to me this week that has gone down that road. So, with the age-old NFL draft chart and the numerical values, there I found one that's updated, mm-hmm. and it's this thing is standing the test of time, so like for instance, if the Minnesota Vikings picking 18, if they wanna get up to what would be designated as the Jeremiah Love spot, would you say that's Arizona and 3, or is that too lofty?
I mean, if you wanted to absolutely positively guarantee that you would get him, mm-hmm. like I think that would be the starting point. I think people have questions of, would Tennessee do it at 4? Like, are they in position to do that? The Giants at 5, would they do it? They just drafted Cam Scatterboot. There's a little if with those two. And then the Commanders feels pretty obvious if it doesn't happen at those two. But 3 would definitely be
right.
Like, we're guaranteeing you get this guy. It's a lofty jump. Obviously.
Okay, so when I lay out, people I respect within the game are saying, yes, the potential for Jeremiah Love to be a generational type running back. Would you agree with that? And have you heard the same things?
Yeah, I asked one of the scouts that I trust who evaluates college guys all the time, like, where is he on the Ashton Genty, Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs scale? And this guy said he likes him better than Genty.
Come on.
And that he is probably like Gibbs-ish, Bijan, like maybe not Bijan, but pretty close to that level in terms of how people. Yeah, but the way people talk about these guys sometimes just like running back. Mm-hmm. This guy is like, this is going to be crazy, like McCaffrey-ish in terms of what he can do in the passing game.
Holy cow. Okay, well, so let's build it from there. Okay, and I'm not going to proclaim whether I think this is a long shot, a no shot, or a medium shot. I'm just going to describe the shot and see what you think. So, per the super special trading NFL draft trade chart, Arizona's spot is 2,200 points. Number 3 is 2,200 points. The Vikings at 18 is a 900.
That's
okay. So therefore, we got 1,300 points to make up here with just a first round swap. So now a first next year would be required. Oof. But how do you designate where that first is going to be? So what I did is I made it 25th overall pick in the draft.
Sure.
I think that's where the Bears pick. They're division champions. So let's make it a 25. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. 25 is 720 points. So now all of a sudden we're up to 1,600. We're chasing 2,200. You got 600-ish points to make up still, and you're 18. Now, granted, you get the guy, and you've given a first next year. All right. So the Vikings' second round pick this year, number 49, is a 410.
Oof. Okay.
So now your pick swap, first next year, second this year.
It hurts.
You're still 200 shy. But if what people you respect and I respect are saying is right, with Murray's speed, Jefferson, Addison, and Love, so anyway, I'm not saying it's a no shot, not saying it's a long shot, not saying it's a mid shot. I'm just dissecting the shot. You're still 200-ish points that you have to make up, and that's assuming Arizona doesn't require a premium for putting you in that spot. And I think that's a fair part of the conversation. So with 200-ish points to make up, you can keep the rest of your picks this year and move Jonathan Grenard. Okay. Now, so if Grenard's going to get traded, it's most likely going to happen day of draft or around that time. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. That would be a likely. Okay. Now, that's if he gets traded, and right. I'm in the camp right now where right. I think that's more of a long shot too.
So do I, and I hope we're both right. Yeah. But for the sake of dissecting the shot,
sure, of course.
Well, now you have to designate what value you would put on Grenard with the numerical, the points, the draft trading chart. So if you're chasing 200, that basically puts you middle third round. So it's basically a middle third round pick. If it's pick swap this year, second this year, first next year, and Grenard, now they got to pay Jonathan because nobody's going to make that deal unless they're like, we want him. Why wouldn't you? He's incredibly good. And we have the ability to pay him. So now that would just to encapsulate, Vikings get the 3 and running back Jeremiah Love. They give this year's first and second, next year's first plus Grenard. And then you hope the Jets don't snipe you in front of it because that could ruin the whole thing and be the fattest dog ever. Dallas Turner has to absolutely look the part, obviously, and they would have to have the opinion that he may not be overall as good as him now, but we believe he can get there. So obviously that's key. The Vikes would still have 2/3, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and 3/7.
Yeah. So here's the deal. The idea of Jeremiah Love with this offense is tantalizing. It's hard not to start to go through this to try to figure out a way to try to make that happen. But
obviously the Vikings would have to love him. I mean, not like him.
The Vikings really like him. The Vikings love him.
Okay, 10 of 10. I'm talking right people.
Yeah. Which
would be head coach.
Right.
Has to be a 10 of 10.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the guy has injury history. I mean, like Adrian Peterson, when he went 7th, the only reason Adrian did not go in the top 3, two things here. The Vikings sold really, really well up to the draft. They're going to take cornerback Leon Hall, who ended up going to Cincinnati. So they sold that hard.
Thank goodness they
also found a way because of Adrian. Adrian had a bad collarbone. Well, somehow they found a way to perpetuate the rumor or the belief that this collarbone, it's a situation. We're not saying we're red dotting him and he's out of the chat, but this collarbone's going to probably keep us away. Plus, we need a corner. We love Leon Hall. Well, then all the picks fall here, picks fall there. With the 7th overall pick in the 2007 National Football League draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Adrian Peterson, running back Oklahoma, and he's going to the HOF.
Yeah, I would say as tantalizing as it is, the idea of trading a future first, a second, and Jonathan Grenard makes me ill to where I'm going to go look for the bathroom in the KFAN studios. And as much as I love the player, as much as I know that the team loves the player. Like, it would have to, in my opinion, with Jeremiah Love, the point at which it would become realistic to start really talking about this would be like, if somehow it gets past 7 with the Commanders, then you're talking, what do the Saints do at 8? What do the Chiefs do at 9? They both just paid a lot for running backs. And then can you get to like 11? That would be the point at which, it'd be probably more realistic.
Well, now you're keeping Grenard.
But I would say, the Grenard one.
I want to make this FIGA, Fairness and Jonathan Grenard Act. I really, really hope they don't trade Grenard.
Right.
For personal reasons. And also,
he's phenomenal.
He's awesome against the run, and he's an awesome, awesome player.
Yeah, Jonathan Grenard is a great player. You can, people listening to this driving around, you guys are probably like, but he only had 3 sacks in 2025. And I would say, I understand that. He only played in 12 games, and his advanced metrics in 2025 were better than they were in 2024.
Geez. Really?
Pass rush win rate, pressure rate, run stop rate. It was all better in 2025 than 2024. And
remember at Seattle, that disastrous day for the team when, they were going to dust him off from injury and he didn't start and he was a situational guy. Remember when he finally came in, how Darnold and everybody freaked out for Seattle, pointing people over here, and Flores had it sniffed out, and Grenard either sacked him on the first play or he deflected a pass or something.
There's a lot with Grenard that I think, it's hard to notice beyond the sacks. Like, he's selfless enough to not have to be the guy making the play every single time, which in this defense is really important. You got to have guys who aren't just all in on racking up sack numbers, and he has been a very team player. But I'd say the Grenard thing is interesting because if you go back, let's say a month and a half, you could have argued that, okay, the Commanders per se needed edge rushers at that time. And Durante Jones knows Jonathan Grenard. So you could have said at that time, like, what if the Vikings traded Grenard, did some kind of 18-7 swap, and then you'd be in somewhat of, like, that would have been the Jeremiah Love that would have been really interesting. I just think at this point, the Commanders added 2 edge rushers. The Vikings are in a spot where they obviously have been public about wanting to keep Grenard. So
Tennessee was not necessarily in the running back market. Cam Ward needs a running back.
Yes, but I like Tony Pollard. Like, I don't know. I'm not like, I don't like him as much as I like Jeremiah Love, but I think the idea is worth talking about. And it's an interesting question of like, okay, if somehow he slid to 11 or Caleb Downs slides to 11, like, what would it take to get there? Would they be willing to do that? This team really wanted to have the amount of picks they have for 2026. And the idea of parting with them, knowing that they can fill a bunch of holes with them, is something that I don't think they really want to do unless it's for a guy they love, which he would be in that vein. Jeremiah.
And the reason I started at 3, because that, in dissecting a shot, that's the worst case scenario. If you're in the camp that's like, okay, well, you got a bunch of holes you got to fill, so it makes more sense to trade back, which I would agree with. But again, if you've done this now for half a decade, and you're super plugged in, man. I can't speak for you. I don't hear people describe people as generational talent very often. Do you?
No.
I've heard it 3 times this week, man.
No, I mean, this guy, Jeremiah Love, there are a lot of people who just think he's the best player in this draft. And if you remove positions to it. So, yeah. And the idea of, I've said this to you, I've said this to Nordo, I've said this to listeners I've said this in writing. The idea of having a generational talent at that position and what that would do for the conviction and the play caller calling runs, sticking with the run game. I do think that would be a major importance. I also know they value this position. It's why they were in on Travis. I think he pronounced his last name Achan at this point. ETN, but he says he pronounced his name differently.
Really?
They were in there, but the Saints paid him a lot of money, and the Vikings weren't willing to go that far. So
like 4 and 53 or something in that neighborhood.
Yes.
Maybe I should know this. So you reported they were in on ETN.
That's correct.
Oh, geez. So that's a little bit of a tell here.
Yeah. I mean, they value the running back position. And so it's why, again, if you see Jeremiah Love on the board at 10, if I do, and I'm sitting in the TCO Performance Center that night, I'm starting to lean forward in my chair like that meme of the video game because he's just that talented of a player. I don't think there's any way he's going to fall that far, so it's a little bit of a moot point, but it's worth a discussion because of, to your point, he is that level of talent.
Well, at least that's what I'm being told, and I think we both believe it.
Yeah.
Now, you know who else values running back? The Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. Yeah. The Kansas City Chiefs who went out to get the MVP. Howie Roseman, who made it an A topic to get Saquon Barkley. The next level Goody with LaFleur in Green Bay with Jacobs. Ben Johnson with the way he does things. So, I mean, it's age old in the NFL, which is described as a passing league and stuff like that. When you have, and this cannot be disputed, when you have the right running game and the right tight ends, you're going to be awfully tough to beat.
Yeah, it makes everything so much easier. And I think with the running back, like, I view it kind of, and I've been told this isn't like me coming up with this, like there are running backs who can hit singles and hit doubles. And then there are running backs that can get you over the fence where it's blocked for 4 and you get me 12, or where it's blocked for 5 and you get me 25. And that's what Saquon was for the Super Bowl team. That's what Travis Etienne has been for the Jaguars. That's what Kenneth Walker was in the Super Bowl for the Seahawks. And so the Vikings, I would say, since Kevin O'Connell got here in 2022, have they had that guy? I'd pose the question to you guys.
Well, Dalvin was close.
Dalvin was, but he was obviously at the tail end for him.
Yeah.
But have they had that guy since then that can get 12 when it's blocked for 4? No, they have not. And I think that affects, like, you know, how we talk about the run game and just the evaluation of, does coach and play caller stick to the run game? That's obviously a data point in his mind. It would have to be, you would think.
Well, I think, and you did the conversation with Adam Kaplan, PA, and listeners are going to get to hear that next hour, and it was a terrific chat. But it's going to be brought up during that, and I'll just throw this out there now. Just kind of, I wonder how teams value this draft in totality. So we're wincing at the idea of them giving up that first rounder and that second rounder. But would they value a generational talent in Jeremiah Love more than the defensive tackle they'll get in the second round? And just kind of weighing that and how that potentially turns this draft if it's lighter on elite high-end bits and Jeremiah Love considered the best overall player in this draft, generational talent, as you've heard multiple times this week. One thing that possibly does, though, is skyrockets the value of that third pick. What if we are not the only team that is calling Arizona? So for me, if he's true, if you could guarantee, which you can't, if you could guarantee that this was the next Adrian-like player, what you described in a trade, you do that every single time, and I don't think you hesitate, regardless of the various holes that need to be filled, because it isn't just 2026. This is a cultural builder here, if he's that type of player. But I just wonder how expensive it's going to get and how trade crazy Thursday night could be if they look at this draft and say, the best of the linebackers is here. I got to be there because I can get a guy on day 2, and I don't feel that great about him. I just wonder how they value the draft and how that could raise the value of a trade.
For those who are really into the NFL draft, and you've listened to the first 37 minutes of the show, the final segment, or one of the final 2 segments, commencing about 11:30, 11:35, involves this conversation. So at the free iHeartRadio app, if you want to leave talkbacks on what we were talking about going from 18 up to 3, and what we've put into it, then by all means, offer your opinion, and we definitely will play some back then. Off what Nordo just said, what you're going to hear from Adam Kaplan is he didn't say it was a bad draft. But he early in the conversation, he's going to say it's the best tight end draft in the last 15 years.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'm not, we didn't invite you into the neighborhood to sit back and throw tomato cans at you and try to take you deep. But let's be mindful that in 2023, Laporta, Tucker Kraft, Dalton Kincaid, and that was pretty good tight ends draft.
I would say so.
And so he backpedaled a little bit, but 9 to noons. We've talked about it now quite extensively about the depth and the rich nature of the multifaceted tight ends all the way through early Saturday. This Sadiq looks like he's going to be a cinch to be not only a tight end, but tight end in new age football, where you can play slot. He can play outside. He went 4.3 at the combine. No worries about him off the field. Then you have a Roush from Stanford, who I'm catching wind a lot of people like. Eli Stowers from Bandy are people who are like, you're not going to put him in line to bust you up like Josh Oliver. You're not going to follow him in the running game all the time. He might be the best true pass catching tight end in the NFL. Might go in the second round. There's this cat from Baylor, last name Trigg, where, I'm just hearing awesome things about 5 tight ends here. So much so where I'm like, I wouldn't mind the Vikings certainly considering one at 18 when you balance what you need now, because too many people look at the draft as what you have to have right now.
Yeah.
Where general managers and personnel people, they want to help the now, but they want to fortify the forever. And why are you taking Kenyon Sadiq? 3, 4, 5 years down the road may answer that question, Well,
TJ Hawkinson is now in the final year of his deal. And if he has a phenomenal, I keep saying that word for some reason this morning.
What word, TJ?
Phenomenal. If TJ Hawkinson has a great 2026 season, then he's probably going to get paid a lot. And can this team afford to pay him with all the other things they're going to have to pay? I think it's a fair question. If he has a pretty down season, you're probably going to be looking for a different tight end. So, the idea of a tight end is definitely intriguing. Sadiq is that guy is such a weapon, and he is a willing blocker. He is I was thinking about this yesterday. If you added him to what they have, just the amount of explosiveness in the passing game and dynamic ability would be pretty interesting. But I don't know. This team has a lot of needs. We talked about center. I think I'd be pretty surprised if they get through the 2026 draft without drafting a center.
Sam Heck.
Receiver. I think receiver is definitely another option there. I'd say, you look at defensive tackle, safety for sure. Those are some of the ones that are surefire. Tight end, probably lower on the list. But, again, if Kevin O'Connell is sitting there watching the film of Kenyon Sadiq and he's like, I have to have this guy, be pretty hard to argue it.
Alec Lewis, The Athletic, theathletic.com, at Alec_Lewis via X. Much more about which we will chat involving the NFL draft, which is just a hot tick under 3 weeks away. In fact, 3 weeks from today will be rounds 2 and 3. We have a draft party show at US Bank Stadium with Nacho Lieber, Pete Bursich, yours truly, and our 11 a.m. guest today, Paul Charchian. That segment was the Steve's Appliances Marathon segment. On behalf of the owners, Sarah and Jordan, along with Sarah's husband, Brian, they want to wish everybody a happy Easter. This is a very significant week for the Christian and the owners of Steve's Appliances and everybody else listening right now, including yours truly. So on behalf of Steve's Appliances, happy Easter. If you're looking for fast delivery, free recycling, guaranteed low prices on appliances, consider, please, stevesappliances.com.
If you're looking for world-class walleye fishing, there's another trip with Ballard's Resort and me coming up this May. You can join me May 25th through the 28th up at Ballard's Resort. And it's 3 nights lodging, 2 days of elite guided walleye fishing up there. It includes 8 meals, rods, reels, bait, and tackle, ice, fish processing. It includes all of it. Presented by Ballard's Resort and Schweeters Chevrolet. It's $595 per person, and you can check out all the details and sign up. Let's go fishing together. You can go to ballardsresort.com today, May 25th through the 28th.
The NBA playoffs are close. Have you secured your credential to transcribe chats for Johnny Athletic?
Not yet. I need to text John.
It's a fifth row seat to transcribe chats and get paid. Are you kidding me?
I don't know why I wouldn't. I mean, if it's possible, I'm going to do everything I can.
And if this Luka hamstring thing ain't good,
that's crazy.
That changes the whole complexion of a 6'3".
He's averaged like 38 a game or something. I haven't watched a lot of NBA of late, which probably doesn't help my bid for the credentialing for the playoffs.
Well, but you're following the Wild so closely.
How could you follow it all? Plus the NFL
what you
draft.
texted me last night about Urov being a healthy scratch X amount of games and them elevating him last night. Why? To fortify him and believe and have him and believe in him and show him that they believe in him. That was a wonderful text.
I mean, honestly, like when you're thinking about Bobby Brink and you're thinking about McCarron and McCarron is massive.
Yeah.
He is towering. But yeah, I'll hopefully I can do some NBA playoff stuff. We'll see.
Did you go to Johnny Athletic's event last Friday at Head Flyer Tavern?
I did not, but it looked electric. It looked. We had dinner stuff and I couldn't go. But
threats of bad roads and ice and stuff like that.
John, though,
ice as in
that would have been
accumulation of water when it freezes.
Correct.
It is a Friday. We need to be careful.
That would have been a good place to go if you wanted that NBA work, is to support your teammate. I thought that would have been a shoe-in if you do want to be row 5 recording chats.
Honestly,
and recognize Aaron Freeman's birthday.
It was. I mean, I saw Micah Nori and John. I mean, it had to have been an unbelievable experience for the folks at Head Flyer.
Tell us about, and I'm being serious with this. Tell us about Orange Beach, Alabama. And here's why I ask. A dear friend of mine named Andy Pothen, and his family did spring break there. And sent me some pictures from something called Orange Beach in Alabama.
Yeah.
It looks so beautiful. Are you familiar?
I am familiar. I didn't spend a lot of time going to Orange Beach. I think it's near kind of like Fairhope area, Mobile-ish type of area.
About 50 miles east of Anniston.
Okay. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
I don't believe it is.
I am going to the beach, though, in Florida in a few weeks right before the draft. Freshen up, get ready. So I'm good for those late nights, day 1, day 2. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'll be in Gulf Shores this summer, as a matter of fact, in Alabama. So,
all right.
Any family down in the Gulf Shores area that I can say hello to?
I don't believe so, but that's kind of Orange Beach territory.
What's Alabama weather like in the summer?
Hot.
Is it humid?
The most humid.
Ew.
You walk outside and your hair, the way I'm looking at your hair right now, it would be tough. No, I think it looks fine.
It's already Einstein-esque. If Thieneman goes to the Dolphins at 11, because I think the Dolphins with Hafley as the coach, and fortification needed all over the place, but specifically defensively. And then, one thing that I always have felt was underrated with people when they analyze the draft is they give you tells in free agency. I mean, like the Chicago Bears, I'm not saying they won't draft a defensive player, but I mean, from I think it was Devin Bush to Neville Gallimore to the big trade with Seattle with Kobe Bryant. I mean, they've done so much defensively. Of course, they could take a defensive player mid-20s, but I think Ben's going to look to amplify what's already good. And a lot of good coaches have done that for a long time, taking what's good and making it great. So, like Miami with the defensive play calling head coach in Jeff Hafley, and then Javon Holland left, and I think he's good, not great. But looking at the landscape of what they do, that could be it's Caleb Downs, right, for Ohio State. Yeah, that could be a spot like for him or for Thieneman. I learned this week that Thieneman's position flexibility, he plays all over the place. And he's really good opposite certain players in the slot right up on them on the line in certain downs and distances, not in all situations, but like if a safety or if the Oregon guy Thieneman goes 11th to Miami, you think that jacks up Minnesota's plan?
I mean, it is interesting to consider with how every mock draft person, whether it's Daniel Jeremiah, Field Yates, Jordan Reed, Dane Brugler, Bruce Feldman did one this past week, and he had Thieneman. Like, everybody has projected Dylan Thieneman to the Vikings. It's honestly...
But why do you think that is?
I mean, because
we're not the only ones with steam.
No, it's probably pretty clear that it is clear the Vikings have a safety need and that this guy fits from a character, high energy, experience coming from Oregon standpoint. So it makes sense. But it is interesting to consider if a team snagged him before, then what? Like, then what do the Vikings do? Thiedemann is very, like, what is, I found watching the tape, he plays like if you think about like a Tampa 2 coverage where you got the middle linebacker running the middle of the field.
Yeah.
In the Oregon system, he kind of played right there, like in the linebacker-ish role.
In the Kyle Hamilton spot.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, yeah, I would say it's like a very Georgia defense where they play 3 safety-ish, and then the middle safety is kind of like in the more linebacker role. So it was an interesting position for him, and it's interesting to watch the tape. I thought Dylan Thiedemann looked really good coming forward. Tackling, he's pretty solid there. He's gotten better at it. You could see from the Purdue tape to the Oregon tape, he's gotten better there. Going backwards, it's sometimes you start to kind of hold on to your seat a little bit because he gets a little turned around in coverage. But he's an interesting player. If he is snagged, then I mean, you start to really wonder, what do you do at 18? I mean, I've been curious, like, could you trade back?
Yeah.
Could you
I'm a fan of that.
Could you get to 25 or 26, pick up another day 3 pick like in the 80s or something, and then you still can get a player you really like, and then you add another player in day 3? That would be I would be a fan of that. I just don't know how many teams are going to want to come up in this draft.
All right, last one. Who do you like this weekend and why? Illinois against UConn, Michigan and Arizona. That Michigan-Arizona game, man, that thing might be unbelievable.
I mean, they both should be fantastic. Illinois and Arizona, I feel like, are the 2 best teams. And then I think Arizona's going to win it all. But Illinois, I mean, watching that team is crazy. They're 6'10", 6'11".
The Eastern Bloc bit's unbelievable.
It's nuts. And then the point guard is the craziest story ever. The guy was 150th in recruit, point guard from Kansas City. He's 6'6", and he's going to be a top 7 pick in the draft out of nowhere. It's an amazing story.
Have you checked on Bucky lately? And is he already?
He got an extension. I think he's doing just fine.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Is he already working the portal to potentially pilfer a high-ender from a mid-major?
Is that legal?
I don't know.
I mean, at this
they
point,
work the portal all the time.
Yeah, you got to be in the portal. Yeah. Bucky,
happy Easter to you and Ellen, the marketing director. Tell John I say hi, and that was fantastic. Thank you very much for that hour.
It was fun. Thank you, guys.
Chris Broussard, formerly of ESPN and currently of FS1 and more. He joins 9 to noon next.